Thank you so much, Dr. Reddy, for coming to SRN and being a part of the Pro UPS International Park Race.
My pleasure. Yes.
So wonderful lecture.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
We are asking very general questions where the takeaways would be for young PIs and students, both at SRM and elsewhere. My first question is very simple. Can you share any significant challenges which you have faced in your research and how you have overcome that? Now, this is divisible into two parts.
Yeah, sure.
One is, of course, the research problems, which is purely scientific and oriented to task solving and all those things. The second is, how do you manage? There are times where every big laboratory goes through a fund crunch.
Yes.
Because of the broken mechanism of the grant, because they do not come in a timely manner and you are expecting. How do you think you overcome these challenges?
Yeah, sure. Thanks for that question. So, it was very challenging when you come back from abroad as a freshly trained postdoc and try to set up the lab, right? So, the challenging part was to having right set of people. Okay, so we don't have the luxury of good trained postdocs in the country, right? So, which other labs in other countries have, right? So we had to rely on PhD students. So I would say that is challenging, but it is not impossible to deal with, right? So, but yeah, we do get good set of students. So that's how we overcome, right? So you had to train them well, and then you rely on them heavily. So
how much in your lab is a thing that the SOPs are finalized? You worked hard with the first 1, 2 or 3 students to finalize the SOPs in the lab.
Yeah.
And then following students have to follow the SOPs. Is that a routine, or each student has a different problem which may have 30% overlap in terms of the techniques used, and that the approaches become more combinatorial and different? So how do you kind of orient the lab discussions or the journal clubs or this thing? What is the thought process behind it?
Yeah, so the SOPs, as you said, are set in the first few years. The first batch of students are trained directly by me, and we are fortunate to have a good set of first batch of students so that they continue the training by themselves later on. And we went through changes. The SOPs constantly were constant for some period, but as and when science get what you call revised, or probably see new phases of science come, right? So you need to tweak in some SOPs.
Basically, what you're trying to say is slowly but steadily you are developing your own Mariettis model.
You can call that. That's a way to do it, right?
Release manual.
Yes.
That's tough techniques, because there are many small nitty-gritties even while doing Western projects which can make a huge difference between getting a beautiful clean blot.
Absolutely.
And also a dirty blot. Definitely both are good results, but the way the representation happens, that's what makes the ultimate difference.
Absolutely. So it has to be tweaked in, and it has to be constantly improved upon. So I think students are adept in doing that. So we are fortunate to have such kind of students, yes.
Do you have different sets of same PPTs but different stakeholders when it goes for funding? No, I'm just telling you, you wouldn't share a similar PPT to Department of Biotechnology when you go for a conventional funding vis-a-vis a philanthropy, because that guy doesn't understand all these flows and post-translational and all those processes, whereas he understands how it is good to help the populace and with his support.
Yeah, sure. I think you cannot have same code fitting all people, right? So you need to sell the code based on the size, right? So you have to know who you are talking to, and then you tweak in your selling points, right? So absolutely required. I think we need to do that. So yeah, that's part of the job.
All right. My next question is, what do you think are the qualities which are required to make an institution a strong research hub?
Very loaded question. Okay. So I strongly feel that the infrastructure, a lot of people say that we have best infrastructure and all that. I feel bringing right people with right attitude and right research questions, right, is what I think is important for building a very good network or research hub of institute. right? So I think look for good people. Look for people who are, driven towards science and driven towards research, right? So committed. So those are the people who will decide the research environment. Yeah.
Wonderful. So tell me, sir, something like we talked a bit about the grand challenges. The next disruptive challenge, which is actually coming to the forefront, is the rise of AI in healthcare and scientific research. Earlier, it was restricted to technology, but now even the AI and tech solutions are reinventing, fighting that the conventional banking and all those solutions are kind of reached a point of saturation. And now the latest area of innovation is health, from thinking about mental health to different kinds of. So in that era, in that kind of context, how do you think that the traditional research paradigms are acting to this technologies, which are expected to play a predominant role in shaping the future in the next 10 years?
Yeah, so I keep hearing this, that AI is going to change the world, or even coming to the basic and medical sciences research, right? It's going to dramatically change. People say that, and people say that it is going to take away jobs and all that. But I feel that we need to adapt, right? So we need to make use of this the changes that are coming through with AI, and we need to adapt those changes and then integrate those changes or AI into our work, right? So we can definitely use that. I think there are a lot of ways to do that, and it is important that I don't see it as a negative point. I see it as a positive point, that it actually enhances the value of your work, right? So I definitely see the integration happening. Yeah.
So from your perspective, do I consider AI to be used as a tool like a PCR or a Western or something like that? Or do you think that it is like a tool which will kind of be the bedrock or platform on which basic science will be built?
It's too early to say that how is it going to be, but I feel that it is going to be utilized in multiple ways. I think it is going to be used as a platform rather than a replacement for something, right? So yeah.
Okay. What do you think, sir, is one big change which you think will happen in the next 10 years?
Interesting questions. Okay. I think a lot of, at least in this country, I can see that there's a lot of emphasis on moving towards translational work, right? So we need to adapt ourselves, converting or applying our basic science towards translation. I think we need to redirect our research a bit. Of course, it is the need of the country. That's going to be the first thing I see. And I see a lot of big data driven science is going to take over, right? So a lot of people will be investing on generating a lot of big data, and it's not going to be one person, one protein or one gene, right? So people are going to work on big data. Third thing I feel is that there's going to be a lot of emphasis on interdisciplinary work, right? You cannot work in silos anymore. I think you had to talk to, as a biologist, you had to talk to mathematicians, physicists, chemists, right? Which was not the case like a decade ago, right? So we had to work together. I think the change will be the interdisciplinary work, I feel.
So, to add on to what you would say is, I believe first thing anybody when they get, I always say, with freedom comes responsibility. I always say that, please remember that you are a faculty and you are expected to look into your personality at a 360 degree. And we expect you to bat at several fronts.
Correct.
Because you're no longer that monolithic person, okay, I'm doing this small piece of problem and that's it. But you need to look into administration, academic administration, so politics. Sometimes, the faculty have a tendency to opt for the easier illers.
Yeah.
Because they are able to excel in those small jobs which require very limited intelligence, and then it becomes a way of habit, and before they realize they are into that mediocre kind of thing. So what would be your parting advice to those PIs? How do you learn to say no? Yeah, because this is something, the art of telling no.
Yeah, absolutely. I think they had to learn that. So, see, this is when you come back here as a faculty, right? It's not just science. You had to do, as you said, a lot of administrative. So, early in their career, I think let them focus. So, do your research. Come to a stage, right? I think your administrative responsibilities grow with time, right? So, early stages, I think you should say no. Okay. Once you set up and once you know what you're doing, I think you should not be averse to taking responsibilities at a higher level. I think you should probably be doing multiple things. So you develop skills to do multiple things. That's what I would say.
So you better say skill sets can be acquired over a period of time once you have carved a niche for yourself.
Absolutely.
Which is totally independent of your PhD mentor and postdoctoral mentors, so that nobody can talk about infringements at a later point.
Absolutely. I totally agree. Yeah. So,
thank you so much, sir, for your kind.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much for having.
And we do hope that you have wonderful interaction in the remaining 2 days.
Thank you very much for having me here.
We look forward to continue the association with you and your team and CDFD, and go in terms of MOU, and let us know in what way SRM can partner to make a difference to your brand or research.
That's wonderful to hear. So yeah, let's keep doing that. Yeah, that's good.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.